Ever wonder how successful real estate agents just continually bring in client after client after client? Well, today I'm going to uncover the 4 main strategies you can use to bring in clients. Let's get after it. When you look around the industry at different coaching platforms and successful real estate agents that are willing to lend their voice out and give their experience to other agents, you'll notice that they find business in a ton of different ways. I always joke that there's 187 different ways to get business in real estate, and I actually think that number is probably pretty low. But what you will notice when you start listening to them is you'll notice that they start following certain specific strategies. They all kind of get lumped into one of 4 different types of lead generation. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. So you'll have the agent that goes out and they're all about content creation, whatever social media platform works best for them. Then you'll have another agent preaching, well, your sphere of influence, your friends and family, that's the best way to get business. And yet others are all about the paid lead sources, how to run ads and be successful in that way. And yet there are still some that are even saying, hey, just treat your customers with the utmost respect and give them a wow experience, and they will continue to bring in business. But ultimately, they all kind of fall into one of those 4 categories. What I notice as I'm listening to so many different coaches and speakers in YouTube University and everything else is that there are so many different avenues to bring in business. But if you listen closely, they all fall into one of those 4 categories. And those 4 categories are exactly what we're going to talk about today. You've got direct contact prospecting, you can pay for ads, you can create content, or you can get referrals. Now, before we dive in each one of those, I do want to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Andrew, or of course you can call me Mister Mongo. I'm a real estate agent, a team leader, a coach, and a public speaker all around the realm of real estate. So if you get any value out of this, I urge you to consider hitting that subscribe button, and let's get back into it. So let's discuss each of these categories for getting business and throw a couple of examples out at you so that you guys can fully wrap your brains around what to do with these different strategies. So let's start with direct contact prospecting. My favorite thing about direct contact prospecting is that it is typically, for most agents, the fastest way to get clients in your real estate business. Now, this can be broken down into a couple of different categories. You've got warm outreach and you have cold outreach. Now, of course, all the pros always come with at least one con, and the con with direct contact prospecting is typically more rejection. But this is a great way to bring in clients into your business, and probably why so many brokerages teach exactly this. They'll teach you to start with your sphere of influence and supplement with cold calling or vice versa. And that is simply because they are running a numbers game. They need to create fast income for people because they know most people are not going to stand 6 months without a paycheck in this industry. So they try to get you to do the fastest things first and hope that you eventually catch on to some of the other things. At least that's my theory. So either way, let me explain why this is my second favorite way to get business for new agents. And I'm going to go ahead and start with cold outreach. I know it's not the, most fun thing for a lot of people, and we hear cold calling and we all get a little bit, stiff in our seats or whatever, but it definitely has its purpose. Cold outreach or cold calling is kind of what we all lump it into, is just that. It is reaching out to people that you think may have a need for your services, and you don't know them, so it is cold. They don't know you, you don't know them. Some of the most common ways of cold outreach that people know of are expireds, for sell-by owners, and circle prospecting. And of course, you can door knock for any of the same reasons. In fact, while we're on that subject, it doesn't just need to be a phone call or a door knock. There are other avenues you can use to reach people in a cold outreach sort of style. You've got cold emails. In fact, you can even do cold video emails, which hit a little bit different. Then you've got mailers, you've got direct messages on social media, and you've got cold voicemails. I don't always suggest cold texting because in a lot of states that's illegal. In fact, for any of these, you should make sure it's legal in your state before you go in and just start blasting people with voicemails or something like that. And another thing to consider with cold outreach is replying to questions that people have, whether it's on social media or on forums like Reddit or Bigger Pockets or something like that. Although that strategy is kind of phased out a little bit, it is still an avenue to get business. And then we flip that coin over and we have warm outreach. And this one feels a little bit better to most people because it generally involves less rejection. And warm outreach, for anybody that may not know, is just reaching out to the people that already know, like, and trust you. This is your sphere of influence, your friends, family, past clients, things like that. And this is generally one of the better ways to go for most real estate agents because it is almost always going to be the fastest way to business. because these people already know, like, and trust you. You're eliminating that rapport factor that you would generally need to build. And if you're not a seasoned agent, you don't have the billboards and the advertising and, all the experience behind you or whatever it is that your client might be looking for, you at least have that relationship that you can leverage. My suggestion is that warm outreach should be done with just a little bit of planning, but that is my personality. I know there's a lot of personality types out there that are just like, let's fly by the seat of my pants. Listen, I'll make it easy. My suggestion is empty out anything that you have that has client information on it, or contact information on it is a better way. So this means go through your phone, dump all that. There are apps out there that you can literally put in a CSV file, upload it into your CRM. You do the same thing with your social media. You do the same thing with your email list and any other avenue you have that would have somebody's contact information. And before you go, hey man, I don't have any contact information for people in my Facebook. Well, yeah, you do. You've got Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. If you have a way to contact them, they are a contact, and you need to figure out if they become a lead down the road. And a lead just means that they have some sort of interest. Now you can reach out to these people in many different ways. In fact, at the very end of this video, I'm going to link another video that I did that gives very specific examples on how to do that. Simply put, if you can contact them, do. And do it at a regular cadence until you receive one of two fingers. Let's do business together, or let's not. Point of it is, just reach out to them, preferably in their favorite method. So if they like communicating on Facebook, don't try to call them. If they like texting, don't try to call them. If they like calling, don't try to text them. I'm a millennial, technically, and I just prefer text messages, my favorite. And so if you leave me to my own devices, that's what I'm going to do to all of my clients. Although some of them prefer a phone call, some of them prefer a social DM message, and so forth. My biggest suggestion to you is put together a strategy to touch these people, especially the ones that you feel comfortable talking to, somewhere between 30 and 40 times per year. These don't all need to be phone calls. In fact, my suggestion is just 4 of them per year should be phone calls, with 1 in-person meetup that you try to schedule every single year. And then there's a ton of strategies that you can implement outside of that. And in fact, if you wait until the end of this video, I have a little surprise for you guys, a little free gift that will help with this, but I'm not going to talk about that quite yet. Now, if you haven't already started contacting these people, my suggestion is get them all into your CRM and just start slamming the phones and getting in touch with them as quickly as possible. This is going to jumpstart wherever you're at. So if you're struggling right now or you're a brand new agent, this is the number one place that I would start. The next strategy I want to talk about is content creation. Now, content creation is probably the sexiest thing out there for real estate agents right now. You see people with these huge, enormous followings and brands, and we envy them a little bit because you're like, wow, you've got 200,000 people on your TikTok. That's amazing, or whatever the number is. So it feels sexy to us, but there's pros and cons just like anything else. The main pro of this is that you can reach a lot of eyes and ears with relatively little work, and emphasis on the word relatively for a reason, because it is a lot of work. But in the grand scheme of things, 3 hours of work on content creation versus 3 hours of cold calling, you have a lot higher propensity to reach a lot more eyes and ears over here on the content creation side, although the cold calling might have better effect per person. Now, the big con with content creation is there is a high skill gap. It is not easy to break into the content creation game, and quite frankly, it takes a long time for you to turn business from it in most cases. Some people get lucky, they start posting content, they get stuff immediately, but for most people to build an audience or build a brand, it is going to take a considerable amount of time. Now, when we're talking pushing free content creation, this is not talking about paid content. We'll talk about that in the paid ad section, but for the content creation portion, this is free stuff that you're pushing out there, and there's a lot of platforms you can use this on. You've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. People are sleeping on LinkedIn right now, but apparently it's pretty powerful. I'm even sleeping on it right now. So, I'm about to start learning that, and I'll start teaching you guys what I learn as I go. YouTube. So YouTube's got a couple of different avenues to bring in business as well. And that one is my personal favorite, but that's just because I bring in quite a lot of business from it on my consumer-facing channels. Remember, posting on any of these platforms does not guarantee success. There is a skill gap. You will have to learn stuff. You are going to have to be good. And this means learning more and practicing more, which is why most of the gurus out there teach you to just demolish your social media, just nonstop. And this is to get reps in so that you get better at it. This is why people like Gary Vee, he's one of my favorite people to use as an example for this. He's like, post 38 times a day on, whatever platform it is. It's like, he's telling you to do that so that you get your reps in, so that you do become good and you do start realizing. It's not because he just wants you to post 39 times on one platform. That's probably not the greatest strategy. I think ultimately he just wants you to get the reps in. Now, in most cases, when it comes to social media, there are three main portions to your content, whether it's short form or long form. You've got your hook. That's the first few things that you say that capture their attention and confirm to them that this is going to be content that they want to see. Then you need to engage your audience and have them remain for a good portion of the video, if not all of it. And then lastly, you want to reward their behavior because they spent a lot of time with you. It's not lost on me that you were spending a lot of time with me right now. So as I generally try to do in most of these videos, I do have a reward for you at the end. If you're getting any value out of this, I would highly appreciate you if you just hit that like button and let me know that you're getting some sort of value. Now, going back to content creation, my suggestion is don't get overwhelmed by trying to do every platform at once. Unless you're stepping onto a big team, or maybe you're transitioning into a team and you've got the manpower to have specialists on each one, you are likely not going to be successful at all of them. But I don't mean that you ignore all of them either. I generally tell people, listen, if you're doing short form content, post that short form everywhere. Watch it all for 6 months and see which one is doing better than the other one. Same content, different language. It's the same language, it's English or whatever you're speaking. But what I mean is it's the same thing. It's the same video. Figure out which platform likes you better and then start going all in on that one. Or if you already have one that you like, one of the platforms that you like, just go all in on that one. You already know it a little bit better than the rest, so you'll get less irritated when you don't know all the features or what have you, and you'll be a little bit more motivated to keep going. Ultimately, you should start narrowing down your focus to one, maybe two platforms at most, until you start getting some sort of benefit from it and you feel like you really know the platform and that you're on a really good trajectory. And then if you want to start adding in other social platforms after that, then that is a good idea. All right, let's switch from content creation to paying for ads. There are many different ways you can pay for ads in the real estate space. You've got, paying per lead, Facebook ads, Google pay-per-click ads, things like that. Then you've got kind of like the affiliate style, which is like Opcity or Redfin, somebody that basically gives you the leads, you work them, close them, and then they take a portion of the commission. Either way, you're paying for ads. And I know there's going to be somebody watching here that's going to go, well, I'm not paying for that. They're taking it out of my commission at the end. Well, you are right, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just stating that you are paying for that lead. If you're paying 35 up to 50% of your commission for it, that's what you paid for the lead at the end of the day, which is perfectly fine in a lot of people's business. And if that's something that's in your business, don't let me deter you. It is a good model to go with, especially if you don't know where these leads are going to come from. My suggestion, though, is in basic business building 101 is once your calendar fills up with stuff like that, start knocking off some of those so that you can get the full commission leads instead of splitting it with this company that's paying for it. Take some of that money that you would generally pay for one of those and pay for your own leads. Learn how to work them or any of the other ways or avenues you can find business and start going a little bit more in on that. So paying for leads is very interesting because you can get a wide variety of leads and you can actually kind of tell what kind of lead they're going to be, most of the time anyway, by the type of lead that you are purchasing. Let me give you an example. You've got top, middle, and bottom of funnel. Now, top of funnel is generally going to be the cheapest lead acquisition cost. Like the actual acquiring the lead is really cheap. This is things like Facebook ads, for instance. It is a forced ad placed in somebody that didn't want it. So you're going to get a lot of people that are just clicking to see what it is, a lot of looky-loos, a lot of people that aren't really that interested. That's perfectly okay because the lead cost is about a nickel. It's not really a nickel, but it's definitely the cheapest most of the time. The downfall is that it's going to take them longer to turn and you've got to sift through a lot more of them in order to pull the good leads out. And of course, a lot of them are going to drop off along the way because these people are generally about a year or more out in most cases. So keep in mind, you're going to have to nurture top of funnel leads for a long time, which is probably why it's not the most popular type of lead in the real estate industry. Then you've got your middle of the funnel lead. These are generally going to be 6 to 12 months for them to transact. And these are people that are already looking for information and you're just kind of stepping in front of it. Google pay-per-click is one of my favorite examples. Google pay-per-click is something where they're typing into Google what they want. They already have an idea of what they want. You're just paying for that keyword so that when they do type it in, your name comes up and you get that opportunity. Now, middle of the funnel leads are going to fall somewhere in the middle in both price and time to transaction as the other two, as kind of the name suggests. So you can expect, like I said, 6 to 12 months. Google pay-per-click is typically $10 to $20 per lead. Depending on your city, it could be higher or, of course, lower than that. Then lastly, you have bottom of the funnel leads. These seem to be real estate agents' favorite, okay? These are your Realtor.com, your Zillows, Redfin, some of the affiliate stuff that they're handing you, kind of a pre-qualified lead. Their ISAs have already kind of turned that lead for you. And the reason why we like them so much is because they transact so quickly. You can expect them to transact 6 months or less. Sometimes it's immediately, hey, I've got this home that I already really love. I want to go see it. You see it, they put in an offer. Well, of course we love that. But that's going to come at a little bit of a premium. You're going to pay a high amount for that lead. And the cool thing with paid advertising is this is really beneficial for somebody whose time is a little bit more limited, but they have some more check equity. They have money to play with. So you're definitely going to spend less time on these, especially if you're buying something where somebody else is nurturing the lead until it's ready, but you are going to pay a lot more money than you are in the other avenues that I've discussed in this video. Now, let's get into referrals. Clients, friends, family members, they are now telling other people about your business. This is my number one way to bring in business. It is so wildly underrated. It blows my mind that there are not enough gurus out there, coaches, and people on YouTube talking about this exact thing and how to build this into your strategy, which is something I will be putting more on my channel because I frankly think it's just missing. And the reason why this is one of my favorite ways is very simple. It will cost generally no extra time or money, or if there is extra time or money involved, it's fairly nominal in response to, what you get out of it. And more importantly, the main reason why this is number one on my list of all four of these main categories is this is the only one that can stack onto itself in perpetuity. You do a great service for one person, that person tells two, those two tell four, so on and so forth, and pretty soon you're having to choose who to work with because you just don't have enough time to work with everybody. Now, of course, that particular example is mainly for clients and past clients, but it can kind of work in a few other categories as well. But let's first talk about clients. Now, a lot of people think, well, clients, past clients, I can get business from my past clients. Clients are clients. It doesn't matter if they're now, if they're in the past. They're just clients. Even if you're working with them in the present, you can still get business from them, and you should still be considering them a client all the way until 30 years after they purchased with you. So now, how do we make sure that they tell lots of other people that they are just screaming your name from the rooftop? Here's an exercise that I like to tell people. Imagine that your very next client, if it's your first client, that's fine too. That's actually probably even better because you can build the good habits right now. But your very next client, now play a little game with yourself. If you can't get any more clients, the only way you can continue in real estate and feed your family, the only way is if that person, that next client you have, tells people about you and your services, and somebody they tell comes to you. If you can figure that out, you'll never have to worry about business again in real estate. The markets could crash, everything can go to crap. It doesn't matter. You will always get business because your customer service is on that level. Now, clients aren't the only way to bring in referrals. We've also got other real estate professionals that we need to consider, particularly agents. And you can do this in a couple of different ways. You can either be building a team, and then therefore those agents are helping the team in general, with everything that they're doing. Or of course, referrals from different parts of the country. Let's say you go to a conference, you make a few friends, have a couple of drinks at the bar, meet somebody you really like, you guys become buddies, so on and so forth. Eventually, you've got this little referral chain going. And there's other strategies inside of that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but there's definitely some pretty cool, interesting things you can do with referrals. And then, of course, you got other industry professionals that might not be the real estate industry per se, but they might be industry adjacent. Somebody that knows that they might need a real estate professional with some of their clients. People such as, and as much as I hate to admit this, bankruptcy managers, foreclosure managers, and divorce attorneys. But this could also be your lender, your title company, just anybody that you use inside of your real estate business. You're giving them business. Why aren't they giving you any? And then lastly, you've got friends and family, probably the greatest source of all time, as long as you've been keeping up good relationships most of your life. These people are there for you. They love you. They're your cheerleaders. They're here to help your business. So maintain contact regularly. And I know For some of you, that seems silly. You're like, they're my friends and family. Of course I'm going to maintain contact. You'll be surprised at how much we kind of let the little things go, or let some of our relationships go. I wouldn't call them little things, I guess, but let our relationships go as we continue to get more business, and especially as we're diving into a new industry, or maybe it's just a difficult industry for the time. We sort of get complacent. But point is, keep the relationship going, treat them right, and just give them a gentle reminder from time to time that one of the best ways for you to get business is for them to tell you about other people that they might know that are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Ultimately, the way you go about getting business is 100% up to you. But my biggest suggestion is, as you continue with your career, start slowly mixing in a mix of all four of these, and for several good reasons. First of which is diversity. Ultimately, the way you go about getting your leads is 100% up to you. Now, I do think that you should dive in on one and kind of there's going to be one of these that you're just better at than the rest. Figure out one of those, figure out the individual tactic that you need, get good, get stable, get comfortable. But as you start growing your business, I suggest you start mixing in a little bit of all of these, all four of them, because they're going to help you in so many different avenues. One of those avenues is diversification. Diversifying is so very important. We hear about this with investing, but we don't necessarily think about it in our business. But let me give an example of how important diversification may be. Let's pretend you're a paid lead person. You get it, these warm leads, somebody else kind of nurtures them, but you're really good on that phone, converting them, going to go show the property. So you've been spending all your money on Zillow. That's the only thing that you've tried. You don't know anything else, but you're so successful at it. And then let's pretend, just make believe here, that Zillow decides they don't want to sell individual leads to individual people anymore. They just want to get all of their leads to a massive team that already have the systems, have great conversion rates, and have the capacity to handle everybody in your city. And so they don't sell you any more leads, which, by the way, this is called the Zillow Flex program, and they're already doing it all across the country. So if you're relying solely on that, eventually your business goes and dries up. What are you going to do? You at least have a skill set. You know that you can turn bottom of the funnel leads, so maybe you turn to realtor.com, but what happens when they eventually do the same thing? It's not crazy to think that realtor.com is not going to go that direction. Think about the amount of money Zillow is producing from this exact model. Instead of them getting $2,000 a month from somebody to close one lead, they're getting $4,000 for that same lead to be closed from a team using their Flex program. This is why diversification is important, because if not, you're going to spend 6 months trying to find the right program for you, and the whole time you're just going to be freaking out about where your next business is coming from. Or you pivot and go into one of the other categories, which might be really good for your business. But ultimately, your business is going to suffer, at least for a short period of time. Another reason to start mixing in a little bit of all of these is adaptability. You need to be able to pivot and pivot quickly, especially if you're a solo agent or on a very small team. This is one of the big advantages you guys have over the big brokerages and the big teams in the area, is your ability to pivot very quickly and adapt to different situations. And I suggest you guys get really, really good at it. This is going to help you move forward. And if you don't have this adaptability, you might see large fluctuations in market trends or even consumer behavior that might affect your business. And lastly, I wouldn't be doing this video any justice if I didn't mention probably my favorite word in real estate, probably the most important thing that I would ever talk about, and that is consistency. Without consistency, none of this matters. If you try some of this stuff for a week, you might get lucky. You might not. But the point is, if you don't do it consistently, you won't get a consistent set of business. You will not be able to grow a big business without doing something consistently. You are going to try at something. You're going to think it's really, really a great idea. It's called uninformed optimism. Then you're going to try it and it's going to suck, and that's called informed pessimism. Then it's going to keep sucking and you're eventually going to want to give up. It's the valley of despair. You're like, what am I doing with my life? And then you start getting a little bit of success because you're consistent. You didn't give up. If you give up in that valley of despair, like most people do, and you're like, well, social media didn't work. I tried it for 2 months and switched to something else. You don't get to the last step, which is informed optimism. You now know what it takes. You know how to get there, and you're starting to see results. So it's starting to get exciting. So consistency is so very important. So earlier in this video, I talked in the content creation portion about the 3 main things you need to content create effectively. You need a hook, something to grab their attention. You need to hold their attention for as long as possible, and then you need to reward them for their time. It is not lost on me that you guys spent a lot of time with me today watching this video. I sincerely hope you got some value out of this, and because of that, I want to give you a reward. So comment down below, I made it to the end, I'm taking the reward, or hey, thanks for the free, whatever. Just put something down below so that I know that you guys made it till the end. It really helps me out and gives me a little boost too. And then go check the description out for the gift I am giving you. The gift I am giving you is my complete sphere of influence checklist for every phase of your business. So no matter what phase of business you're in, you will find value in this thing. It's got 3 different categories. You've got a beginner on how to contact your sphere of influence and put in some basic parameters in place. You've got an intermediate for the person that's like kind of dabbling a little bit, but they're not super consistent. They want to get better at it. And then you've got the pro version, which is actually what my team and I do today. To put this into perspective, by only contacting my sphere of influence, I have pushed all other leads. I'm a team leader, so I push all my other leads out. In fact, I generally push my own leads out as well, at least now in the last year or 2, because I'm trying to get out of sales and focus on team leader. Doesn't matter. Point is, from 200 people in my sphere of influence that live here locally, I pull about 60 to 70 sales every single year from it. Every year, without a doubt, with this exact strategy that I'm giving you guys. There's no paywall, you don't have to do anything, you just go down there, get it, it'll get sent to you, use it, let me know if you guys have any questions, and come back to this video, comment, hey, I didn't like it, or hey, it was awesome, or hey, I had a question about this, doesn't matter. And of course, all of my information will pop up on the screen, so if you want to reach out to me directly, you don't want to put it on the comment on this video, that's perfectly fine, you can reach out to me. If you guys have any questions about LPT Realty and why I moved my entire team there, you can also reach out to me about that. And whew! All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.